Are you currently a GCSE or an A-level student and you're really confused as to what to do 1 week, 1 day, and 1 hour before an exam or your teacher's assessments? If so, then you've clicked at the right video today, because today I'll be sharing with you all exactly what to do 1 week, 1 day, and 1 hour before your exams, so that you're fully prepared, fully energized, and you feel your best as well. If you're interested to find out the whole checklist, then please keep watching this video till the end. So naturally, I was breaking down this video into 3 sections: 1 week, 1 day, and 1 hour before the exam, and this will definitely help you, I'm sure, with your preparation, with your mental health, as well as your sleep and all those kind of things that are really important for you to make sure that are balanced so that you can have the best grades as possible. So now let's begin with the 1 week checklist. So 1 week before the exam, you want to make sure that you're practicing as many past papers as possible, because this is a really good way to familiarize yourself with the content as much as possible, as well as familiarizing yourself with the structure and the style of exam questions that you might be given in the exam. So in that way, you're fully prepared and you're not feeling shocked in the exam as to what kind of a question is this, I've never seen it before. You want to avoid those kind of situations as much as possible, in my opinion. Number 2 thing that I would definitely do during the 1 week before the exam is to make sure that you're going to sleep early and making a routine in terms of a sleeping schedule, that you go to sleep in a same time and also wake up in the same time as well as not neglecting your exercise routine, and also eating good healthy habits, not eating healthy habits but eating good food in general that are healthy, and limit yourself from junk food as much as possible in this 1 week period, because this might affect your balancing your hormones and your mood and everything like that. So you want to avoid those kind of things. So first things first, make sure you do practice as many past papers as possible, as well as eating well, sleeping well, and exercising well as well. Third thing that I would definitely do before 1 week before the exam is to make sure that you're seeking help from others as much as possible if you don't understand any kind of questions or any topic, especially from other students who might be going through the same thing and they might need help as well. And when the teachers might not be readily available to you, you want to make sure that you're helping each other out as much as you can. Number 4 thing that I would definitely do is making sure that you are relaxing yourself as much as possible and doing all those kind of hobbies that actually relax you. This could be painting, playing music, or reading books and everything like that. So you don't want to neglect your me time during this 1 week, because this can be making you very stressful just before the exam and unnecessarily, and this can be very easily avoided by just doing hobbies that you actually love doing. So you want to make sure that you're relaxing yourself as much as possible, at least I would say 1 hour per day, or even 1 whole day per week or something like that. And the 5th thing, or the last thing that I would definitely do, is making sure that whenever you don't feel like to study, you're using the Pomodoro technique as much as you can. In that way, you're giving yourself 25 minutes of full concentration on a task and 5-minute break. In that way, this gives a good structure to your study routine, and you will feel like to basically study more and more. So now we're going to be moving on to 1 day before the exam, or 24 hours before the exam, what you should be doing in your study schedule and study routine. The first thing that I want to make sure is avoiding too much studying, and this is time when you actually want to relax as much as you can, as I mentioned before, and you want to make sure that you are accepting yourself, the fact that you have done already what you could have done in terms of preparation, and now it is all about the exam and how to really do it well. So you accept yourself that whatever you could do, you have done your best, and you move on and just relax the day before the exam. At the same time, I want to make sure that you are sleeping as early as you can and giving yourself at least 8 hours of sleep, as I mentioned before, and also avoiding too much caffeine intake, for example green tea or coffee or anything like that, and you're actually relaxing yourself by going out, and that can really help you with your mood and balancing your hormones and your mood and mental health as well. So these are the 2 top things that I would definitely do, which is to accept that you've done your best, and number 2 is making sure that you're sleeping as early as you can, as well as not having too much coffee the day before. The next thing that I would definitely do the day before the exam is to make sure that you're practicing some kind of mindfulness, which means doing some kind of yoga, meditation, or some kind of light exercise, or even high intensity, doesn't really matter. As long as you're moving your body, it's a really good way to actually release endorphins and make sure that you're feeling good mood just before the exam and you're not feeling stressed like some people are. And also another thing that I would highly recommend is to make sure that you're limiting distractions on social media, or using social media anyways, because you don't really have to see how much people have done preparation or what other people are saying about the exams and how difficult it is or how easy it is for them. You don't really have to know all those kind of things, and you just want to focus your energy on yourself in the 24 hours that are left before the exam. I would also highly recommend for you to actually double check if you have all the equipments that you actually need for that exam to be successful. For example, if you have a maths related exam, then make sure that your calculator is actually in your pencil case, so that in that way you're not going to be needing someone else's, or you might not be able to do a certain question in the exam just because you didn't have a calculator with you. So you want to make sure that you're avoiding all those kind of situations as well. And the last thing that I would definitely do the day before the exam is making sure that you're visualizing a positive outcome, which means you're visualizing yourself that you are successful, you're going to be smashing this exam, and you're going to be getting that 9 or first class or whatever that might be, and you're going to be feeling so great and everything will be turning out really, really good. So 1 hour before the exam, I think, is the most dreadful one that any student can actually ever experience. And these are some of the things that I do on every time I have an exam that actually make me relaxed and actually my stress levels goes pretty down. The first thing that I do is making sure that I'm actually reviewing my notes only once and just reading them and not trying to understand them or anything. I just skim through them and scan through them to give me an idea of what are the topics and what are the definition of some kind of words or anything like that. So I'm not really trying to study in that time or revise in that time, but I'm just scanning through my notes. The second thing that I definitely do is making sure that I'm not discussing how much I've revised or how difficult something is or how something easy it is to someone else or another student or a fellow student, because in that way that can just pressurize me even more, because especially if they say something like, oh my god, didn't you know that this was supposed to be revised, or you had to revise for this. You want to limit all those kind of conversations as much as possible, because that's just going to eat your head in the exam and you're not going to be focusing on answering the questions. And number 3 is making sure that you are arriving on time at least 15 minutes early, and also going to the toilet. That can really help you as well to refresh yourself and actually giving yourself time to actually relax, and you're not rushing through things unnecessarily just before the exam, just the 1 hour before the exam. I think the other thing that I would definitely do just the hour before the exam is making sure that you are eating something which is not too sugary and not too sour or too much protein. I would say protein is the best thing to eat before an exam, and also something sugary, but not too much sugar, because that can actually drop down your energy levels, and that can actually do the opposite effect of actually making you fully concentrated. But I highly recommend for you to eat something which is protein based, and there's so many things for you to eat that is protein based. But if I had to give a suggestion on what to eat in terms of sugar wise, I would definitely say dates, because dates actually give you a full amount of energy for a long period of time, even though they're so sugary and full of sweetness. I would highly recommend that. And the last thing that I would definitely do 1 hour before the exam is making sure that you are treating yourself this test as a normal test and not something too big, something that is gonna define your future, that if you fail this then everything will go and fail and you're basically gonna die or anything like that. You want to make sure that you're as relaxed as possible and take this test as a normal test and an in-class test, and you will see that difference in your mindset shift, and this mindset shift will actually make your grades go higher and higher. So this brings me to the end of today's video. I hope you really enjoyed this video and found this checklist really helpful on what to do the 1 week, 1 day and 1 hour before the exam, because I wish I had this checklist with me. And if you're interested, I would actually link down below the PDF version of this checklist, so that you can actually have a look and print it out and keep it next to you just 1 week before your exams begin. In that way you know exactly what to do, and you're actually prioritizing yourself and keeping yourself in check, as well as having a good mental health and not feeling really stressed just before the exams, because that can be a really good way to actually mess up your exams as well. So yeah, I hope you really found this really helpful, and if you have any other friends who might be interested in this checklist, then please do share it with them as well, and also check out and look out for any other kind of exam related videos in this week, because I will be definitely uploading more. But other than that, I will see you in my next week's video.